name is Amber Robles-Gorden. I am a mixed media installation sculptress, I like to call it. I also do public art. I have basically known that I wanted to be an artist since I was around 8. It was just something that was almost imprinted in me. And then throughout the years, my mother really, she made it known and made it part of our kind of existence that creating was one of our gifts. Along with culture, my mom indoctrinated me with sci-fi, relationship to Star Wars, Star Trek, all of those things. And so one of the things that I have noticed throughout my life in watching that genre, and not just that, but other genres of whether it be television or movies, is the image or the lack thereof image of Black women. One of them is the series that I started called Interdimensional Realms. And Interdimensional Realms is I want to say a collage type of work, and it's where I'm working with perspective and creating these little realms of existence within a larger plane. So that was one of the kind of burning factors that made me create that work in relationship to wanting to create a future that is just willing and that protects, that embraces Black women. So this is the work that I was talking about. This is the kind of drawing or collage, the interdimensional realms. Okay, so this is like the ugly parts of my sketchbook, only because it's really about the research. This was the research that happened that I did for the series called Awakening the Matrilineal, which is talking about the matrilineal line of life, in relationship to women. And so this breaks down all the different symbols that I use within that work. So it's the ugly part, but it's the essential part. And this is part of the work. This was the series right before this, was called The Male and Female. This is the inner circles of that particular work. Let's see. This is all based on that one series, Matrilineal, Awakening Matrilineal. So the majority of my materials are definitely from my own use, things that I use and or kind of deconstruct, whether it be I eat a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, and they're covered in plastic, or plastic or a mesh type of material. And so some of those things I will actually keep and reuse and store. But then, I've made pieces with curling irons that broke after a period of time and deconstructed them and or used them as a whole. I'm really interested in how we as human beings utilize the materials and our resources around us, and how we've manufactured these things, these items, which give us a certain amount of pleasure, which give us a certain amount of we use them as utilities, to fit a need, but then we haven't figured out how to put them back into our world without hurting our environment, without thinking about the future. In some ways, we're really into this current self-gratification. And I'm a culprit of that myself. I definitely buy things for self-gratification, but it is definitely something that I struggle with. And so that definitely has a factor in the materials I use. But let's push kind of not fabric, but push plastic aside, metal, plastic. And then if you go to the fabric side of the materials that I use, I feel, to me, fabric is like our second skin. Sometimes I reference when's the last time you left with home without fabric? Like it's used to adorn us, to change the way we feel, to protect us, to cover us. People actually hide in their clothing, in their fabric, in relationship to their mental or social issues. And then there's an aspect of the materials that I use that's about memory, about preserving, encasing, and celebrating memory. Each thing you touch leaves a certain amount of cellular imprint, and I claim to work with that. In addition to that, there's also the color of the items, color and texture, that build dimensionality to the works that I create. So I have a large definition of materials.